Welcome to the Blizzard Cinematics Cataclysm panel.
All right, good morning, BlizzCon. That's pretty good. It's early, I know. Let's see if we can get a little louder though. Come on, good morning, BlizzCon. Come on. Yeah. All right. Cool. Hope you guys are all having a good time. Hope you had a really good first day. We've got an awesome second day lined up for you. There's some great panels going on today. You should check those out for sure. Some tournament finals. Even if you're not into that game, you should go check it out. It's just fun to watch, and the crowd just really gets into it. That's pretty awesome. And then we have a closing ceremony with some band playing. Do you guys remember what the band was?
I don't remember.
Some band playing. Tenacity.
A D or a B or something.
Yeah. So I heard they're cool. You should check that out too. So yeah, we have Tenacious D at the end of the day. So that should be cool as well. Hopefully you guys are here to see how we make cinematics, because that's what we're going to talk about. Specifically the cinematics for Cataclysm. Before we do that, I'd like to introduce the panel that we have today. To my left, I have Mark Messenger, who is actually the director of Cataclysm. This is Mark's Blizzard director debut. He was originally a storyboard artist for us, and we needed a new director. I used to direct a lot of the WoW pieces, and I moved over to StarCraft 2, so we pulled Mark in, and then he kicked ass, I thought. So. Next we have Seth Thompson. He's our environment modeling supervisor.
Morning.
Fun fact about Seth is I've known him for many, many years. He and I went to college together, and the first time we met, he offered to dance the robot for me. He was a little bit intoxicated, but it was awesome.
A little bit later. We'll do that.
All right, next we have...
Question and answer time. We'll do that.
Maybe at the Q&A, you might be able to convince him. At the Q&A, next we have Mike Kelleher. He's our visual effects supervisor. So, as you guys have seen, the visual effects team just really kicked ass on this project. They earned a lot of achievements and leveled up and all that stuff. So, figured it made sense to bring him on here. And then finally, we have Taryn Gregory, who seems to have a fan base right around here. Taryn came in from, we had two departments at Blizzard. One was the Machinima department, and one was cinematics. And cinematics started making in-game cinematics, and Machinima started making in-game cinematics, so we decided to merge the two. And Taryn's one of the directors from that team, and now we're all underneath the cinematics umbrella, I guess you could say. So Taryn's here to talk about some of the in-game stuff that you guys have seen over the year, and more specifically the ones that are in Cataclysm. And on top of that, since you guys are all here, you get a special treat. We're going to have the world premiere of one of the new in-game cinematics at this panel. And then myself, I'm Jeff Chamberlain. I've directed a few of the pieces that you're familiar with, but I'm really just going to hand it off to these guys. So, you want to take it away, Mark?
Sure. All right. Thanks, Jeff. All right. Thanks to all of you for coming out this morning. This is exciting. Well, as you probably can imagine, Blizzard is a fairly stimulating place to work. So what we're going to try to do today is pull back the curtain a little bit and hopefully convey some of the challenges and the fun of making a cinematic. So let's roll the clock back, if you would, to early 2009. We've got Chris and Rob and the game team all hanging with us in cinematics. And we're kicking around ideas for the Cataclysm intro. Chris rolled out the core concepts behind the expansion, and he got us pretty excited. As you can imagine, he's very good at that. The basic premise, we have, if I can get my clicker going, there we go. We have this very intense black dragon holed up in a very dark place, and he's stewing in a blind rage until that anger reaches flashpoint, and he's got to bring the pain to the world of Azeroth. and the destruction that he unleashes reshapes the world, right? Now, one of the first questions that we always have to deal with when we start a WoW intro is, are we going to do a montage or not? That approach has served us very well in the past, and it's a pretty natural way of showcasing an MMO. But the Wrath of the Lich King cinematic had been a narrative story, and we had all really loved doing that as well. So I was pretty pleased to see that the consensus seemed to be that we could do both. We could have the effect of a montage or a travelogue of showcasing different lands, but we could try to couch that in a narrative story of Deathwing gearing up to wreak havoc. So we all left that first meeting feeling pretty in sync about what we were going to try to accomplish. In cinematics, we started doing some, designs and early sketches, but pretty quickly we realized there were some big questions to answer, and one of the biggest ones was which lands are we going to break, right? We were kind of like, yeah, all of them. We were kind of like kids in a candy store. We were like, can we do Darkshore? What do you got? Can we do Orgrimmar? What's going on? Dare we say Stormwind? We had we did boards I can show you for all kinds of destruction. We had, lava boiling out of Ironforge there, or Firestorm through Thunder Bluff, or there's the Stone Talon Mountains exploding. I think we briefly considered setting the World Tree on fire, but we didn't go for that. Anyway, the game team was super helpful in sorting this all out with us. We did have some criteria for making those decisions. Number one, level of recognition. We really did want to depict places that hopefully you guys would recognize. Number two, balance, because we felt an obligation to share the pain between the Alliance and the Horde. And three, what we call the cool factor, which is really just the strength of the image itself. The tidal wave looming over Booty Bay, that was an image where everybody just said, yeah, that sounds really cool, blowing up a Zeppelin over Orgrimmar, sounds great, let's do it. Deathwing on the gates of Stormwind, absolutely. As soon as that idea came up, there was no doubt that we were going to do that. That was the second of our really big questions, and that's a thornier one, right? Which races do we want to feature? In the beginning of our process, we usually have this blue sky period where all ideas are welcome, and we talked a lot about Night Elves and Darkshore, Orcs and Orgrimmar, the disaster movie concept of people fleeing from the destruction, right? We even had the idea of staging an Alliance Horde battle out in front of the Greymane Wall right before the wall falls down. But what we kept coming back to was that this was really Deathwing's story. This is Deathwing versus the world, essentially, and ultimately that's the path that we chose to follow. We did, however, there's Deathwing, about ready to destroy the world. But we did, however, really want to show the new playable races, the Goblins and the Worgen. The image of the Goblins evacuating their erupting island just sounded, so mournful and visually rich, with the boats all steaming away. And I'm personally a big werewolf movie fan, so for me, the idea of Worgen streaming out of the Greymane Wall was very appealing. And you can see these storyboards here show how we plan to make those introductions. So why didn't we, right? Well, we usually cast a pretty wide net story-wise at first, and then we go back in and we prune and we refine. And what we kept asking ourselves was, what is essential? What is key? Deathwing devastates Azeroth, gotta have that, right? So as a test, I went back to the animatic and just clipped out that Goblin Worgen section and pulled the two halves of the edit together. And honestly, you guys, it just worked right out of the gate. It felt cleaner, it felt more focused.